breaking news right now on Late News Tonight.
We're doing CPR on one possible 12-year-old.
A deadly mass shooting in Stockton. At least 14 people shot. 4 people killed at a child's birthday party.
Unfortunately, tonight, heaven is a little bigger. Children and adults that do not make it.
Tonight, a community left with many questions as an investigation grows. And we continue our team coverage tonight of that senseless tragedy in Stockton. The mayor of Stockton saying tonight that this is Thanksgiving weekend, a weekend where families are supposed to come together tonight. And there is still no suspect information in this shooting. A suspect is still on the run, according to investigators. They want you to have this number. We're putting it up on the screen for you. If you take a look, jot this down, put it in your phone. This is the number for Stockton Crime Stoppers, 209-946-0600. That's the number, 209-946-0600. You can be anonymous when you leave a tip. And we're going to get you back out to ABC 10's Roxanne Elias. You've been at the scene for hours now. The crime scene tape is up. Investigators are still at the scene. It's still very active. Law enforcement has swarmed the area looking into what exactly happened here. And their main priority, as you mentioned earlier, is identifying who that suspect is and bringing them into custody. And tell us more about the emotion. We heard from the mayor earlier tonight in tears about this tragedy out of Stockton.
Yeah, Nazi, I mean, we've spoken to so many different city leaders, law enforcement, spokesperson, San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office. I mean, just looking into their eyes, you could tell it's been hard for them to hold back the tears, and you just see them, staring off and just really in shock here as they try to figure out how something like this could happen. The spokesperson for the sheriff's office calling it something unfathomable. We also heard from Stockton Mayor, of course, reminding us this is Thanksgiving weekend when families are supposed to be spending it with their family members and their loved ones, celebrating, spending time together. But instead, this family is having to spend it in the hospital and waiting to see what happens. We still don't know the magnitude, the severity of some of the injuries here. And so a very sad tragedy here for the entire Stockton community. We are standing with them and pray for all of them. I'm live out here in Stockton. Nazi, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Roxanne, thank you so much. It's such a heartbreaking situation. Thank you for being out there and bringing us the details as you learn them. We'll take you over to ABC 10's Gabriel Porras now, who's also standing by live as well. And Gabe, you mentioned earlier, you grew up in San Joaquin County, and you're calling this the worst tragedy you've ever had to report on. Talk to me about that sentiment and what has been so different for you tonight.
Yeah, I've been reporting on crime in Stockton for the past 9 years at the scene of countless homicides, many times involving more than one victim, but this certainly is the most tragic scene I've had to cover. With, you think about this, the scope of this, the amount of lives that were touched by this, the amount of lives that were tragically lost this evening here. When we first got here, everything was very frantic. There was a lot of adrenaline going on. We first had taken note of this parking lot, the Dairy Queen parking lot, Thornton Plaza, I believe is what it's called. People had started to gather there. We were told later that that's where some of the victims had ran to try to get away from the gunfire, away from the situation that was unfolding in that banquet hall nearby. At that point, we really didn't know a lot of information. Just less than an hour after it happened, family members were rushing to the scene. They were asking where their children were. Those heartbreaking sobs and tears from mothers and family members are things that I will certainly never forget having to witness out here. Obviously, they're dealing with a whole world of other issues right now and having to grieve and go through all this. So we're looking at video now from earlier when this scene was really unfolding. Throughout the evening here, there have been people driving by, people stopping by just asking what's going on, and some people hearing about it on the news, seeing and having to see the scene for themselves. This is sort of a moment you really haven't seen in Stockton in a while that brings people out and to try to figure out what's going on, try to grieve together. I think that's what we're going to have to see a lot of too, is people coming together to grieve, and that's going to be one of the ways that this community makes it out of this. But again, there is still somebody on the loose, so that is a big focus right now for law enforcement and for people out here in the city as well, trying to find the person responsible, holding them accountable, and of course grieving and trying to move on from this tragedy here tonight in Stockton. I'll send it back to you, Nazi.
unimaginable tragedy. And thank you for providing your insight. You know, you're so connected to that community, and it's truly heartbreaking as that suspect does remain on the loose. And, you know, we're talking about the victims here too. You know, we have 14 victims total, 4 of them deceased, and they do range from juvenile to adult. And so that's what truly is making this incredibly heartbreaking for these families, knowing that innocent young people may have been involved in this. We did also hear from St. Joseph Hospital saying that Dignity Health St. Joseph Medical Center received 3 patients. As a result, 2 adult patients are currently being cared for by their hospital. 1 has minor injuries and a second patient is undergoing surgery. A 9-year-old pediatric patient, this is new information, a 9-year-old pediatric patient also arrived at the emergency room and is in fair condition. That's according to St. Joe's, and they say that further information is going to be provided by the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office. So we're getting new details as they're coming in, and our team coverage continues on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Remember, you can keep up with all your breaking news as it happens through our app. It's free to download on your TV. We're active on the app. We're active on our website, abc10.com, bringing you all of the latest updates as we learn them. Time is 11.